Are you looking for ways to put your money to good use and invest responsibly? As an individual investor, you have the power to make a positive impact on the world while also earning a return on your investment. One way to do this is through sustainable investing. When you're investing your money, it's important to think about the companies you're investing in, what they stand for, and whether they align with your values. Sustainable investing, also known as ESG investing, is growing rapidly and takes into account environmental, social, and governance factors when selecting investments. They include things like a company's impact on the environment, its labor practices and treatment of workers, its board diversity, and the quality of its governance structures, among other factors. Investors are increasingly recognizing that sustainability issues can have a significant impact on a company's long-term financial performance. As a result, they are incorporating ESG considerations into their investment decision-making process. Sustainable investing can take many forms, including impact investing, exclusion, and engagement, among others. The ultimate goal of sustainable investing is to generate long-term financial returns while also promoting a more sustainable and equitable society. Now that we have a better understanding of sustainable investing, let's explore two investment approaches: exclusion and engagement. Each strategy has its advantages and limitations. One of the most common approaches of negative screening excludes certain investments from a given portfolio. Usually, this entails adopting a values-based approach aimed at disassociating yourself from specific activities. This strategy involves screening out companies that don't meet certain ESG criteria. For example, you might choose not to invest in companies that produce fossil fuels or adopt unethical labor practices. The advantage of exclusion-based strategies is that they can help align your investments with your values. However, there is a potential downside. When you sell stocks of companies that do not meet your ESG criteria and exclude them from your portfolio, you may inadvertently create an opportunity for other less responsible investors to buy these stocks at a lower price. This could ultimately result in these companies receiving funding from other investors who may not prioritize sustainable and responsible investing practices. Since there will always be a buyer in open markets, by divesting from these companies, you essentially shift the responsibility to someone else who may not share your principles or prioritize ESG considerations. It's important to realize that divesting from companies with poor ESG practices can have unintended consequences. This approach may not always lead to the most optimal outcome because exclusions or negative screening alone do not necessarily lead to net positive effects on the environment or society. In the end, it could result in these companies facing less scrutiny and accountability, potentially further exacerbating their negative impact on the environment and society. Another approach that is often overlooked is that of engagement. Engagement involves actively engaging with companies you have invested in to encourage them to improve their ESG practices. Shareholder advocacy is one effective way to engage with companies. It involves using shareholder power to advocate for change and influence company behavior. Engagement-based strategies can include things like dialogues with corporate executives, shareholder resolutions, and proxy voting, all of which are forms of shareholder advocacy related to stewardship practices. Engagement can help drive positive change and improve companies' ESG practices over time. It may be more effective than divesting alone and creating a long-lasting positive impact. The advantage of engagement-based strategies is that they can lead to more meaningful change, potentially increasing returns as well. However, engagement can also be time-consuming, may not be relevant for certain sectors, and initially prove challenging given the limited ways in which engagement and its impact are currently measured. Despite each investment strategy's limitations, investors need to be aware of their power and influence potential. Investors can shift business models of the companies they invest in and have a positive effect on the real economy. Ultimately, both exclusion and engagement-based strategies have their advantages and disadvantages. As an individual investor, it's up to you to decide which approach aligns best with your values and investment goals.